catch 'em all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is part 5 of the Goalkeeper Challenge. What you're going to do, we're jumping right in here, is you're going to add under Interface and Text a score label. So click and hold, drag that up here, click on the number, go to Appearance. We're going to call this Score Countdown. We're going to do a size of 7 by 7. We're going to do a position of 0.55, which is going to place that right in here. We're going to turn solid off because we don't want anything in the game to actually interact with this. It's just a number that's going to be displaying and counting down on the screen. And then the last thing you have to do is you got to go to value and set that to 3. That way the countdown is going to start at 3 seconds. And when in the events we have it reset the counter, it's going to just reset it to 3 again, and it'll start counting down. Okay, so in your events now, we're going to add a new one called Countdown. And basically what that is when the system runtime has ran longer than 1 second, that way it doesn't start immediately. It's going to wait a second and then this whole thing is going to start. You're going to put the plus here, so it's going to be and the system runtime repeat every 1 second. So basically what we're going to tell it to do, we want it to wait 1 second before it starts, and then we want it to do that every second going forward. Okay, so then what do we want it to do? We want the score countdown score label to subtract set manual 1. So it's going to take 1 second off every second that passes. So hit done, hit play. You'll see that this starts counting down, and it'll actually go into the negatives until we do a little bit more programming. Okay, so in our events there's another one. Hit add event. You're going to do countdown hidden event. Okay, and what that's going to be is the countdown score label when it's less than 1, right? So when it becomes 0, okay, or if it was even in the negatives, the score countdown score label set, oh sorry, that was supposed to be appearance set hidden yes. So 3, 2, 1, and then when it gets to 0 or anything under that, we're gonna make it not display. Okay, it's gonna be hidden. All right, so you can close that and hit done. You'll notice now that the timer actually goes away after it hits 1 second. And now we're ready for another timer. So you're going to go add interface and text. You're going to do timer. Put that up here. This is actually going to be the timer in the system itself that counts. Okay, so when you select on this, go to appearance. You're going to turn solid off. All right. You're going to do active off because we're not ready to have it start timing yet. You're going to do a size that's 3 by 3, just so it's a little bit bigger to see. It's actually going to stay off the screen, so we really don't have to move it. And then we have to add another event. Okay, so go into events, add. This one is going to be called setup. I'm sorry, my mistake. Erase this one. We already have setup. But in here, we have to add 2 things to the bottom. Okay, so add. Here's your 2 things. Number 1, gloves 2, position, set depth index, and we're going to set this depth index to 100, and I'll explain what that is in 1 second. The next one, all in text classes. Okay, so text class. The position as well is going to be a set depth index, set manual to 101. So what this is doing is basically the system is a system of layers. Okay, so if I put an object in there and then I add another one and I add another one, every new layer or every new object that I put in is on top. Okay, kind of like in Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have the correct order of layers when it comes to the player, the soccer ball, the gloves, and the goal. Okay, when you go to save the ball should be behind the gloves. It shouldn't be on the back side of the gloves. We want to see gloves, and then through the gloves we want to see the ball. Okay, so the higher this number is, the further back in the system, I'm sorry, hang on, the higher the number is, the closer to you the actual object is, okay? So 101 is the highest number we have for set depth index so far. And these numbers can pretty much be anything, but we're using 100 numbers, you know, because there's a lot of different objects, and if we really needed to, we could use all of them, okay? We won't use that many, but, you know, we could probably get away with doing from 1 to 10, but it really doesn't matter, okay? So what this is saying is that this one, all the text stuff, okay, so the great, good, excellent, game over, all that stuff, is going to be closest to us, above everything else. So when that stuff flashes up on the screen, that means that it's on top, meaning you have gloves, but the text would actually cover the gloves, okay? So that's important, and that one's the highest up layer, all right? Underneath that is going to be gloves, and then later on in other events, the ball will be behind the gloves, or if the ball actually scores a goal, then it would be on the other side of the gloves. So it's important that we mess with this layer system in order to get these layered correctly. That way they appear right on the screen, okay, as we're playing the game. All right, so we added those two. You can close that. All right, and we're going to add another event, okay? Our next event is called Start Game Event. In the Start Game Event, okay, we're going to do a score countdown, okay? So we have that countdown that we just set up. And we're going to do appearance set hidden yes, okay? So when the score countdown, sorry, this is not the one that we just added. This one is called timer, okay? The score countdown is this one here, so I made a mistake. Events, okay? When the score countdown appearance is hidden, which means that it goes 3, 2, 1, and then once it gets to 0 basically, or anything less than 1, we already had in the countdown hidden event that it was going to become hidden. So now it's saying, hey, when it is hidden, right, which it's going to be after 3 seconds, and the gloves angle, the counter on that is equal to 0. Okay, now let me explain this. On the, let's hit done for a second. On this, on gloves angle, we're also using that for the different positions of the gloves and using a counter on there, okay? So you can see on that counter that the value is set to 0. So when this game starts, it's already 0. So what that means in the event here is, hey, when this is hidden and this counter is set to 0, which it already is, then, and meaning nothing has to change, it's already good to go, then the timer, all right, let's see if we can find the timer in here. Timer label set active yes. So this will start the actual timer and start it counting, okay? We're going to add another line here. The next one is going to be your opponent, okay? So click on the opponent. His animation, GIF. And you're going to do set active yes. So now the timer goes down, the counter in the system starts counting up, the player is now going to start moving, and then you're also going to add to here, and you're going to do opponent appearance change opacity, okay? So not set opacity. That would be like if we want to make it a specific opacity, we want to just change what it is. So if it's already at an opacity of 100, we can add 5 to that and it makes it brighter or dimmer or whatever, okay? So set manual, just change this number to be somewhere around 8. It doesn't really matter exactly what number it is, but we found that that's enough to make it look the way that we want it to look, okay? So yeah, somewhere around there is fine. Confirm, okay? Add another line, all right? Underneath opponent, you're going to do the bottom piece. This one I'm going to explain in other videos as well. It's not quite ready for an explanation. Physical, set solid, yes. So just leave that for now, okay? Next line, the ball, okay? The position of the ball. Where is position? Position of the ball, set depth index, and we're going to make this 80. Okay, so remember before we had the text was closest to us at 101, and then the 100 was the gloves. Now 80 is going to be the ball. Okay, so it's on the other side of the gloves, behind the gloves. So again, these numbers really don't matter, but we're just using 100 numbers total. There's no 81, 82, 83, all the way to 100. It's just a good way to distinguish between what we're doing, okay? So the last thing here, add another one and call that gloves 1. Sorry, don't call it, but grab gloves 1, go to position as well, set depth index to 100. Now you'll notice that there are two different gloves like we've talked about. One of them is just a regular set of gloves. The other one is a haloed effect gloves, okay? So now both of them are set at 100, which means that they're both in the exact same position on the screen, and except that the gloves 2 is not active yet, and it's not going to be active until you actually save the ball and not allow the player to score, basically, okay? So let's go back up top here. Let's close this, all right? You can hit done, hit play. You'll see the timer goes down. It's going to start counting the system up. The GIF or animation of the player is going to start moving, and then the next thing we want to do is something with the ball, okay? So the next one is going to be called Strike the Ball, all right? And this is the last one we're going to do for this video. Let's call it Strike the Ball, okay? And in there, what you're going to have is when the gloves angle counter is equal to 0, okay? So again, that's already like that in the system. Doesn't have to be any change to this, okay? So that means that it's already happening no matter what after 3 seconds, because we don't have to change this number. It's already 0, all right? This is going to be an end, okay, when the timer label is greater than 1.5, okay? Now this is the length of the animation of the GIF, okay? So if your GIF animation was 3 seconds long, then this number would be 3. If it's 1.5, then it's got to be 1.5. And what that means, let me finish this and then I'll explain that a little bit further. What's it going to do? The ball, same thing. The GIF of the ball, the animation, all right, is going to set active yes. We don't want the ball to start moving when the player starts moving. We want the player to move for 1.5 seconds, act like he's kicking the ball, and at that moment the ball GIF or animation starts and the ball starts moving, okay? So they can't happen at the same time. It has to happen 1.5 seconds later because the animation is 1.5 seconds long, all right? All right, add another line, gloves angle again, counter. So here's where we start changing the counter number. Set value, set manual 1, okay? What we're doing with the gloves angle and the counter is basically, it's not counting, but we're changing the number on there each time in order to set up a different phase of the game, okay? So 0 is the beginning of the game, all right? After the ball moves, we're going to call it 1 now. And then in the next event, it'll say, when this is 1, you know, we start activating other things. We can now score a goal. We can now have text come up on the screen and other things, okay? So pay attention to that going forward, because the gloves angle, the counter is going to continuously go up all the way to, I believe, 6 we're going to use. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the different phases of the game, okay? And then the last thing here, you're going to add another one, and this is just going to be the ball is going to move towards set active yes. So this is just saying the ball is ready to move towards something, okay? We don't have the events set up for where it's moving to or what it's moving towards, which is going to be those 15 different detection zones. But now this is prepping us for that, which is going to start in our next event, okay? So again, we can go back up here. We can close this out and hit done, and you can hit play. You'll notice that when this gets down to 0, the timer goes away. The person starts moving. 1.5 seconds later, the ball starts rolling or has its animation. And then in our next event, obviously we still have our gloves here. In our next event, we'll start moving towards different points on the screen at random numbers, basically, okay, or at random positions each time. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. I want to close this one up here. Let's see how long that one was. 14 minutes, a little bit longer, but not too bad. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But you know, as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next one. All right?